Okay, so welcome everyone to our community circle call, our second one for our Rise and Thrive group. And today we have Maggie and Babett leading us on syncing our lives with the cycles of the moon. I'm so excited for this topic. Yes. So you guys, for now, maybe just mute yourselves when you're not speaking, just so that there's not a lot of background noise, but unmute yourself anytime you want to chime in, and I'll be looking at the chat box if anyone needs to share, have a question, or we just want to chat. All right, you guys, Maggie and Babette can take it away.
Okay, cool. So starting with me, I'm Babett. I'm from Hungary, but I'm living in New Zealand in the last 10 years. It's going to be in March, exactly 10 years. So so I love working with the moon and doing things with it. And I would talk about overall, like holistically, how it works and the energy flows and what is worth to do in each phase of the moon and what is supporting us to do at that stage. What about you, Maggie?
Hi, everybody. I'm Maggie. I am a holistic esthetician and I make all the products that I use. And I actually use the moon when I'm making the products. So I've really gotten into working with the cycles of the moon in the last few years. And I can't believe how much it's changed my life and focused me and helped me just achieve dream after dream and manifest so much goodness that I never could have imagined if I didn't take the time to really focus. And so we're going to talk a lot about that today, how to bring the rituals in, how to bring the oils in, all of that. And so we're super excited about this call. I know all of us are. So maybe first I'll just kind of tell you about the cycles of the moon, just kind of how it works, and then we'll get into the details and how to. So we're going to start with the new moon, all right, which just happened actually on the February 11th. And it's a really magical time because you are in the beginning of a cycle. So it's very new. It's very you are leaving things behind and coming forward with new energy. So really tapping into that newness. And then it's going to go into the first quarter. This is your energy is building. You're growing. You're looking up at the moon. You can really connect with that. It's halfway full and you feel probably the same on the inside. You've got all this energy, you're moving towards action, right? And then you get to the full moon where it's full on celebration, action, energy like crazy. And then we're going to come into the last quarter where we're starting to wind down and end this cycle. And so, coming back, you're going to feel like you want to kind of go inward a little bit more. And this is a great time to relate to what a lot of us are going through right now, which is winter. I like to also bring in the seasons, right? And we'll get into all that, but yes. And then boom, you're at the end of the cycle and it starts all over again. And I think that we'll get into details here.
So I really like this how you explain it. So it's it's a cycle, it goes all around, but as I see it's usually there's a duality in it as well, how the energy flows. And I understand it way more now living in New Zealand because of the tides, how the tides are coming and going. Well, Hungary, where I was living before, it's a landlocked country, you don't experience it that much, but here it's so much easier to understand and go with that flow. So it's as Maggie said, it's going out and building new things and then turning back and then shutting things down that you don't need in your life anymore and then have a peak. So it's kind of two ways as well as two peaks basically for me. So one is an inside peak, one is an outside peak, and that's how I can adjust my energy to it. So, and also having emotions and then going that way, oh yeah, I know I'm full of that energy and there, of course. And then I'm full of the other kind of energy, which I might not like, but I accept it, and I like that it's there, and okay, it's okay, to be that way. So regarding the phases, as we start with the new moon right now, new moon is always about the new opportunities and the new starts, and when, as Maggie said, the acceleration starts, because that's the other thing, like you have this slowness at new moon, and then it speeds up, and then it slows down again, and then speeds up, towards the other end as well. So we have this opportunity to think about the future and our goals and our perspectives. So, for example, manifestation-wise, this is the thing when you leave things behind and you focus on the new stuff, because sometimes it's hard to leave things behind. But if I can't, I just put them aside and deal with them later on with the full moon and say, okay, it's new moon, think about the new stuff because they are supported. So how I try to think is like the same with astrology or moon, that you can do whatever you want in any phase, but this is the supported thing that you could do, and then it helps and it moves better, the energy. So it's about creativity and to make something stronger and let it be body or something that you want to build. And then it's also good for starting new things. So anything like moving house. So if you can time, then that move can be smoother, or lifestyle changes, or planting new plants. And I know in gardening, it's really popular, like having moon gardening, but I don't want to go too deep into that one. But that's when you plant the new plants and put them into the soil and let them grow. And it's also good for releasing some things like toxins. So like good detoxing, cleansing, fasting to do in this phase when it starts. You have the new moon and then you have like almost 2 weeks to do them, but especially the first week to start them. And then it's getting rid of things, but it's like epilation, like epilate and it lasts longer. So it's not that you can epilate whenever you want, but it can last longer because it's the normal cycle of that energy of releasing things, and or bad habits like might be easier to put down smoking or anything if you start at this time of the month, and or releasing weight. So it can be physical weight, it can be emotional weight, like your fears and secrets and wishes or anything. And then, it's the start of it. So the next phase will build on it. And this is like, when you have like think it and then do it kind of. And this is when you start thinking and doing and shaping it up. And then the next phase, you start doing it. But before I move on to that one, Maggie will join in to talk more about the crystals and the spiritual side of it as well.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. So beautiful. I love the new moon. It's like my all-time favorite. This is when I go all out. I go like self-care. I am taking care of myself because I am about to go outward, right? So this is kind of like my time to take to myself before I give, right? So I like to bring in tons of self-care. This is like my main thing. I posted in the Rise and Thrive. I'll do like a bath a lot of the time, and I'll bring in like the different elements. So I'll bring in the herbs and the minerals and salts and things into the bath. This is also like really detoxifying as well. Like we were saying, it's a good time to just let go because you're about to start something new, start fresh, like leave the stuff that's not working behind you and move forward and, dream big, basically. This is also like the time to dream and create this like dream you think you can't even reach, just going from your heart. So there's different herbs. I love to use clary sage at this time, honestly. I'm pregnant right now, so I had to do like a lavender and copaiba bath last time. So you can kind of like mix it up. Lavender is always going to be raising that spiritual vibration. I think we don't give that oil enough credit. It's amazing, and it's really incredible when you're doing any sort of ritual, whether you're bringing it in as a dried herb into your bath or the essential oil, diffusing it. I have these little necklaces that I use, and so I wear herbs a lot. So for the new moon, like I would change it out, It's like a little tube. And I put clove in here during the new moon because that's a very incredible herb for protection as you're going into like the unknown, because you've been dreaming, you're not sure what's about to happen, but you know what you want to happen. Also, this is a great time to kind of sit back in the bath and just envision yourself doing the thing that you're trying to bring in, whether it's, again, dropping bad habits or it could be anything. I mean, I'm just going to get personal. So yesterday in my bath, I manifested more plants in my life. So I wanted my garden to grow this year. I wanted new plants that I've never worked with before. So I just pictured myself in that garden with all the new plants around me. And so again, this is like a dreamy time. And selenite is a wonderful crystal. It's clear. I got this one at a little like hippie shop, but I love that it has the moons on here. Just finding little things that you can bring into your rituals, different elements. So I love just plants and crystals. I'll bring in some feathers and things like that. So I'm bringing in all these different elements. And you're practicing magic. I mean, it's magical. What crystal? It was the selenite crystal. And I know that so each full moon also has like a different astrological tie to it. So right now we're in Aquarius. I think next we're in Pisces. And so there's also like crystals that you can bring in. I know that Wendy brought in the aquamarine. This was a really good one for the last new moon. And yeah, girl. And that has to do with like, these crystals are going to help you reach goals a lot faster. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. And they're just going to help propel you along with the moon. So bringing in crystals, this is a really wonderful time to just do some research or ask on the group. I'm always open to chatting about this stuff. This is like my favorite thing to talk about. I'm going to close that up there because I could just talk forever about it, and we'll just move on to the next phase.
Thank you. Yes, so the next one is when all these things start growing. So as the moon starts growing in our eyes, that's how we start building and executing things. So that's about like your dream, and then you start planning and executing things. So move them into the action phase and start building and creating and absorbing. So that's how, when you go, the absorption is really important from the plant point of view as well, because that's why you start absorbing that kind of energy of the moon. And as it grows, you see more light coming from it, more to absorb. And that's about the time of bravery and action. That's the time when whatever you manifested, you can go bold and you can start, realizing all those dreams. And, it's baby steps. It's not like suddenly things will just appear, but it's like making all those steps that will end up there. And that's about, the free spirit and the vitality and like in body movements. You might realize that if you do like regular any kind of sports or yoga or dancing or anything, that you are more free and you flow, you're just lighter. You're just going with that one. And it's funny sometimes to observe yourself, because like when I first started, I didn't know, like, yes, I've got those times and these times, and are they connected to something? What is the cycle around them? And it might be the moon for you. So there are some people who have stronger connection with the moon or not that strong. And mine is even not that strong as my husband's one, for example. He's way more connected to the moon because of several reasons. But this is the time that is good for cosmetic treatments. So they can be more efficient if you do that. It's the time for reforms, when you really, those thoughts can go into something that is forming up and something new. So it's not just like things are happening, but something new, that you dreamt about. And acting on things that you long wanted to act. So that's about procrastination. And that's the best time to stop it and do something with it. because that's the most energy can support that. Or growth. So also like material, business, emotional, personal, any kind of growth and gain, when you're gaining more and more and more and you are building it up. And we might have better judgment in this time of the moon or in this phase. So sometimes, yes, you feel like, oh, my judgment is not the best, but this is the best time because of that clarity. And that's why I love Kim suggesting Clary Sage, because of that clarity, and it supports them. So it all works together from the previous phase going to this one that prepared you for that. And then so executing all the planned lifestyle changes as we talked about. However, when you start absorbing things, you can start gaining weight and start absorbing nutrition more. And if you think about, from my perspective, we're trying to lose weight, it's not the best thing, but think about the nutrition point of view. So that's why you can start soaking up more and more and more and more. And it's important for the plants as well, that they start soaking up more things. And it's also good for like networking when you are still spreading out and building relationships with more people. And when I mean networking, I don't mean like just get to know people, but I like emotionally networking and connecting to them, and any kind of improvement of growth and fertility is coming into the picture as well. So you start become more fertile. And if you think about the moon, like if your cycle is aligned to the moon, and they say like, oh, your period is coming when it's full moon. So you imagine the same thing going through the moon and your hormones. So that's when you are building up those hormones to be more fertile in the middle of the month. So imagine that's when it's coming with the moon as well. Like that's where fertility grows. And then that's where we feel more beautiful. And that's where we have more healing energy coming in. So this is about building, creating, and picking up and pulling and absorbing the energy. So this is about absorption. So the previous one was like landing outside on the peak of our being outside, and this is starting to absorb the outside into ourselves. Yeah, that was the second one.
So much wonderful information. This is amazing. Thank you, Babett. Yeah, it's like such a good time. You are absorbing. I like to think about skincare a lot during this time, like doing facials and gua sha, and like these, like you were saying, these cosmetic treatments are really magical at this time. And it's also more self-care. So you're feeling more confident, right? That's a big theme that I have with this time, is there's so many things to keep you from reaching those dreams that you just dreamed, right? And so you're gonna kind of be getting in your way sometimes, but the moon is on your side. So if you tune into this time, you can really like harness that energy and feel that courageousness, that braveness, that more ability to communicate better. And yeah, your wants, you're going to want to be around people a bit more at this time. And you know, it's exciting. You're like, you're getting out there and you're doing the action steps of whatever it is that you're manifesting. And this isn't a really amazing time to just go outside and look up and just notice, you know, the moon is growing, you know, it's on the it's illuminated on the right side. And so you'll be feeling that energy. I like to look at the moon a whole lot and like think of me and my energy and what I'm going out there to get. So around this time, I would do a lot of like, abundance kind of manifestation. I would do like little spells and things, little rituals that you can choose to do that are really towards like your personal growth and you letting go of these like limitations that are keeping you from this dream that you can very easily achieve if you let the moon and the sun and everything help you get there. Your guides, everything's here to help you achieve these dreams, but you have to go out there, be brave, and go and get it. And so I have used, again, lavender a lot. Some ginger is really incredible during this time. If you think about like your circulation and like how it kind of gets you going. So this is like a good way to think of that. Any sort of oil that's going to give you bravery, you know what I mean? This is like really important to harness at this time, as well as working with stones like this carnelian. So these kind of more red stones. And then I like to use rose quartz at this time as well. It's going to help your heart feel full, which has a lot to do with feeling courageous. When you feel good in your body and about yourself, you feel like you can do more, right? You can achieve more. So bringing in crystals that are going to make you feel this way. If you're working with herbs, blessed thistle and laurel are like incredible. Cooking with ginger. I love cooking with ginger. Yes. And so laurel's like all about success and protection, and you can go out and you can just burn the leaf, you know, and think about feeling really safe as you step out into the unknown, and you go and get whatever it is that you want in life. Yes. All right. So we'll move on to the next phase.
Yay, full moon. Yeah. So sorry for the misleading explanation. So really regarding this coming and going is about that we have the new moon as like, it has the new moon on a day, but we have like kind of plus minus 2 days that has its impact. So it has the full impact of it. It's not just one day. So yeah, I missed it yesterday, but then today it still have the same impact. Like it's starting, lessening or so, but it has like for 3-4 days, they are usually having that full impact. And then you have that 2 weeks kind of going one way, and then have the impact again of the full moon. So it's kind of like you start feeling the full moon. Those who are really feeling it, they start feeling like 2 days before. And like, as I said, like my husband, we have special connection with the moon, and he's a Cancer boy whose planet is moon, and he's really, they can't sleep. So those, and even I have kids who are like little Cancer, but it's like to mothers, it's okay. They can't sleep when it's full moon. That's fine, because that's how they are connected. And so in that days, like 2 days prior and 2 days after the full moon, they can be really like tense and stressed. And it's nothing to do with kind of, how can I say, reality in the sense that something special happened. It's just that energy that is flowing in that way. So, and then another 2 weeks back to have that 3-4 days with the new moon. So that's reflecting back on that cycle thing. So the full moon is, as we said, like it's another peak. So we've been outside and started to absorb things. And this is kind of like being inside. This is about harvesting. This is about fulfilling. This is about closure. So there are different aspects of it. And that's what I like in full moon, because I see it, there is like a completely, fully, positively experienced aspect of it. And there is something that we don't like in it. So the positive stuff is that harvesting. So if you have put that energy into manifest something and do some action, this is the time when it's coming back to you. So you might feel it, that something, yes, it did realize itself in your life and it started to happen. And this is about achieving the goals. So around these days, we might have more achievements just coming in. And this is about closures as well, which sometimes are good, sometimes not. Sometimes we want to close things, sometimes we don't, but it can happen either way. Sometimes we close relationships that they don't serve us anymore. And it's also the top of this achievement. It can be the top of your physical endurance and capability. So you might be more successful in sports. So you can achieve more physically and you feel more active, for example, you have more energy to burn. And then you feel like, and that's the other thing why you might not be able to sleep. Because on those days, you might need to exercise more because you do have more energy simply. And we might be, because of all of this energy, impatient and stressful. That's why they say it's really a stressful period for couples when they have issues. And that's when everything just blows out. You know, sometimes couples have this monthly cycle of having arguments. Oh, suddenly it's always on full moon. And that's when the emotions are fully loaded. And if something is not going into the right direction, it's coming out, and then they are really, it's the time to get rid of them. But sometimes it's not a good experience what happens when you get rid of them. So it's just to be mindful about it. Like, yes, I'm tense, I'm stressing, I'm something. It's just, yes, I want to get rid of, I want to tell it to my partner, to my boss, to my colleagues, to whoever, but just be kind and mindful about how we do it. So that's how it helps me, because I'm usually quite direct and straightforward, and that's the time when I need to pay attention. Whatever I want to say, it's okay. It's just be mindful with others that probably they are feeling the same. Like, they might be stressed as well. And if I'm just doing that, it might be attacking. So it's really, for me, that's the mindfulness moment. Usually around full moon, I'm like quite alert of how to behave, not to hurt others or not to feel, because I know that they are going through it too. And that's just accepting. And sometimes, as my husband is very connected, whenever something else, okay, I just wait 2 more days. I just absorb, listen, because if I am not in that circle, it's fine. And listen, and then after 2 days, when he's getting out of it, we can talk about it logically, like getting back to the point. And so this is good for getting more spiritual a little bit, for future telling things, because you might go so deep inside you that you see all those subconscious patterns that would like to come out of you and ready to come out. And that's why they say, like, future telling is that you have more deeper dreams and all sorts if you can sleep. And that's a really good time. But Maggie will talk about using stones and crystals about because of the energy and what they absorb in themselves, and sometimes when you put them out and let them absorb the moon during the night, that energy, then they are way more feel. But I leave it to you, Maggie. And also regarding fertility, you are still going to the increasing point of it and still there. But if your cycle, for example, is aligned to the moon, then you are getting closer. And that full moon, your period can come and arrive. And imagine it like the moon is like the energy of, you've been absorbing all that energy and now you're giving it back. And it just goes in that circle of like giving back. And that's what the plants are doing as well, like absorbing the nutrition and then absorbing less. So it's kind of like how the moon pulls the tides. It not just pulls the water physically, it pulls the nutrition in the soil. So they are going up and down, up and down. That's why they say when it's up, and the moon pulls them up, that's when you harvest. You get the carrots out of the ground because all the nutrients are on the top of the ground, on the top of the soil. So they are in the carrots. So if you go down to new moon again, they go back down and you have less nutrition in the plants coming out from the soil. Getting back to the gardening part. And it's about self-expression, self-fulfillment. And sometimes in the field, we are afraid of pitfalls. So our fears can be stronger as well. So there are, as I said, negative impacts, like wounds might be bleeding more because of that energy and how the moon pulls out. So if you have operations scheduled, I would say do not schedule them around full moon, because you might be bleeding more. And I don't mean just feminine bleeding, but like physical bleeding of any kind of bleeding. You cut yourself, you might bleed longer. And breakups, as I said, because of the arguments. So if the relationship is not really on that stable ground, they might break up around full moon. So that's why, especially there are some signs from astrology point of view. If you have like Aries full moon, which can be quite, argumentative and going to that wall and bang that wall, if they are both having some aspects of their life, of their thing, they might just break up. And it's okay because it might serve their life, to be honest. But just go with that awareness of that's the time of arguments and breakups. And migraines, it can cause you migraines as well, and sleep issues. Accidents and crime can increase, which is very interesting because it's lighter, the moon is there, but because of that stress and tension, we have more crimes around full moons. I think that's about it. All the achievements, all the harvesting, achieving your goals, and be careful about all those negative impacts of those emotions, and deal with the stones and the crystals because they are full on.
Yes, girl. Yes, this is like, again, one of my favorite times. It's an extreme, and I love harnessing the energy that comes with each moon, because as we go throughout the year, it's always a different energy as well. We could do a whole thing about that, so I'm not going to get too into that. But each moon has like a different name and a different energy, and different things are happening. So that's why I love to put my crystals out. Me and Wendy, I know she does too. We put them out under the moon. A lot of the time, I actually put out my products that I'm making because they have like water and they have oil and they have all these different elements in them. And so these things can really soak up the energy of the moon. And all you have to do is put them out somewhere where the moon's going to pass over them. And it's really that simple. A lot of the times I'll put out like water with a certain vibration. So I just write on the little bottle like what vibe I want. And it's usually love. It usually has to do with love, because that's where everything I want is, right? And so, but you can literally write anything on that piece of paper. You can write, you want to bring in more gratitude into your life, write that down and put it on there. And there's some really interesting studies about how water absorbs whatever energy it's around. And I think it's like, I'm blanking on his name right now. I'll remember it and I'll stick it in the chat there. But there's some really cool experiments that they've done all about water. And so I use the full moon. I put everything out and absorb that energy, right? I also go out there and absorb that energy, whether I'm going outside for a little night hike or I'm going outside just to sit on the porch and just look up and realize kind of how tiny I am. That happens a lot. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm this tiny little thing, There's so much out there. And sometimes we can get so like heady about stuff. And then you sit out under the moon and you're like, oh yeah. Like, this is a good time to forgive and forget. Let go of all the things that aren't working for you, working with you. Let all that go. Let the moon take it. And just keep moving forward with courage and confidence, and trust yourself and trust that moon up there that is working with you. This is like such an important time to let like pieces of you die. You know what I mean? Just let go of the things that you're dragging along with you into life. And the moon will literally take that. You can move forward and focus on the good. So I bring in like clear crystals a lot, clear quartz crystal. These help you align with your heart's truest desire. So it's going to keep you on this path of achieving like what it is that you're trying to achieve, rather than getting distracted from like all these different routes that you can go. So I really like to bring in quartz. I like to bring in some smoky quartz too. I mean, you can bring in anything, you guys. You can really just build your crystal collection, pick the crystals that call to you, and just do a little bit of research or reach out and ask people. Maybe the people that you're buying them from will have so much information on this. There's so many crystals that do a lot of the same things, but these minerals are like so powerful. I promise, once you start working with them, you will never put them down. And like, who doesn't just love a crystal? They're beautiful. They're totally just beautiful. So I'm getting off topic here. So some essential oils I like to bring in would be like cedar wood and cypress. So cypress is like another movement oil. And I really love bringing in these oils that are going to keep propelling me towards what it is that I want and keep me like energized, motivated, and confident. So again, whether you just take a drop of that and smell it and just really have the intention there that you're going to keep going for what you want and you're going to keep achieving your dreams with clarity, and focus. And also, I forgot to mention, so bringing in like a notebook is really, really smart. I get these little notebooks, right? And I just do, each cycle has a specific notebook and I write everything down. So like, this is my new moon in Aquarius. I started this notebook, right? and it'll go through the cycle with me. And at the end, I can open this up and look and see like what I have gotten from my dreams, where I've gone, like, excuse me, all the things I've accomplished. It really helps me like focus and see what's happening. And it's made me realize that like everything you ask for, it happens. So be careful what you ask for, because it's gonna happen, and like all these doors are gonna open for you. And it's about like going through them and doing the action. And yeah, it's beautiful. Okay, we can move on to the next cycle now.
I really love that, and I really support that journaling all over, because when you look back, and as Maggie said, like, be careful what you wish for, but it's also when you start, for example, at New Moon, and you start with your dreams, and they can be really wide dreams, and really just don't be afraid to write them down. That's the first step in realizing them. And then when you look back, it's like, oh my God, like I have a board doing this, and oh my God, I asked for this, but I didn't mean like this. I meant, something less. And you have the chance to adjust it and change them in a way like, yes, you still asked for that, like whatever it can be regarding your personal abundance, regarding your business abundance, regarding whatever things is on your mind, or getting rid of things. And it's like, yeah, but you have to be really exact with the moon and the universe of what you really wish for. And these journals, notes, mine is just post-it notes on a big board, but they really help to readjust, and the next moon will help you in a different way. And that's why it's really important to see where, for me, for example, astrology point of view, like, is the new moon or the full, which sign it is in, because it also has like an extra added little spice to it. Like, as Maggie said, get things go out of your life, but also it matters like what kind of things can go easiest. So if like this is going to be a Leo full moon or a Scorpio full moon or a whatever Aquarius full moon, then those things, those signs support are the easiest to get rid of. Like it can be a Virgo one, like, I'm too rigid in my structure and I should be a bit more flowy. Then I know if it's a Virgo full moon, then those are the things I should let go and be less rigid, for example, or less workaholic or something. I'm just giving this example because I know it for myself, but but that's the thing. And these notes really do help me a lot. We haven't talked, Maggie, about it before. It just came to my mind about the Buddhist calendar and about those 4 full moons of the year where they have extra power. Do you want to talk about that one, Maggie? It just came to my mind the 10 million times is really, really important.
Since you're talking, you should just go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
I feel like you are more knowledgeable about that, but so they're like in the Buddhist calendar, and I can't tell you the exact date. I can look for it and tell you they have 4 different times of the year where they calculate which full moons are having specifically strong energy. And those are what they call the 10 million time space. I'm not sure if I'm just translating it back from Hungarian to English, but that's kind of how they call it. Correct me if I'm wrong. And that's when you can really release things. Kind of for me, it's like release them forever and start manifesting the new stuff. And that's the day when it's really tricky because, as I said, at full moon, you can be really intense, really stressful, and you start focusing on that stress. And the more you focus on that, the more you manifest it. And that's when I try to be more mindful 2 days before it comes, like think about the positive stuff, because on those days, you seriously manifest those things. So if you have big fears on those full moon days, you might manifest them into life. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. To like, no, but I have the chance to have extra energy from the moon. So we will have a follow-up communication, and I will put that in a bit more scientific way, or as much as it's scientific. It's like, what are the dates and what is it good for, and how to prepare for it. But now we are going to the last quarter, and this is about flowing towards the outside. So we started being on the top of outside, coming back into us, and then releasing things, and then going back outside. So from full moon till new moon in the last quarter, we start going again outside. And this is about resting and preparation. So after harvesting, as the seasons are going, like let's say northern hemisphere season, like the fall season kind of things, you have the harvesting in autumn, and then you let everything rest. You just let it go, let it rest, let it, prepare for the new start. And this is about emptying things. So it's not just that full moon, you got rid of things and they came out of your mouth because you've been stressed, but then it's as you started building from the new moon, you build it as well from the full moon. Okay, these were the things that consciously getting rid of the rest and the remnants of those things that you didn't want or don't want in your life. And that's a much better time for operations as well, and having surgeries and all sorts, and a good time for going in and reflecting on it and have that self-assessment, healing your wounds. Healing is usually happening easier, and calming your mind, because your mind has this circle as well, like, oh, I'm dreaming about it, I'm doing it, I'm achieving it, and it's like, give it a rest, so that it can dream again and again and again. And it's kind of that calming of it. And starting for preparing new plans and ideas, it's not the time to when they really can just come out and say, here's my list of my new plans, but it's like, I had an idea, and these things will come back. And spring cleaning, so it's really good for house and internal cleaning. So that's the thing, like whatever full moon came up with, get rid of that and just Marie Kondo your house, your life, your feelings, emotions, or your body as well. Start preparing for that it will come later in the detox phase. So good for releasing a couple of things as well, like as we said, negative patterns especially. So or releasing weight, because you start letting those nutrients go, and the same with the gardening. They start letting the nutrients going back to the ground. And some negative impact can be that you might be dissatisfied or feeling low, but that's part of your preparation and calming and settling, kind of. And it can be a good thing to destroy things. So when you don't want to get rid of things, and you feel that you feel like, I'm losing things, like, I wanted it in my life, but I'm losing it. But that's okay. Sometimes you have to let it go. But sometimes you want things to go, and that's the time to destroy. That's the time to smash them. To say, yeah, it's gone forever, and I did it. So it's like, it's not an active period, but still you are actively not building, but actively destroying things. And I don't mean like aggressively, but like these things I don't need in my life. That might be like, say no for a job, leave your job, or leave things behind. Sorry, but partners or whatever that they don't serve, or friends or community that they don't serve you, and you feel it for quite long, that I don't belong there. I want to cut that cord. And this is a good time because you are settling in your heart, because your decision has been made already. And it's in between of releasing and preparing for the new things. You can start wishing for the new changes. So because by the time you do an action of destroying or letting go or leaving something behind, you create space for the new to come in. So it's natural that your wishes start coming in. So what do you want to replace it with? And sometimes we might not feel understood in this period, and we need to accept others might tell it to us that, I don't feel understood. I don't think I understand you, but it's okay. You will understand me later when you see the end result of where I'm going. And yeah, a little bit of nervousness of those things, of closing things. And that's the same how nervous we can be about doing new things and changing life. And this is a kind of change in another way of getting rid of things. And that's kind of the preparation phase, and getting again, because the peak will be like, imagine from the full moon, when you start releasing things, you release things, and you start preparing for the new peak, which will be the new full with the new moon of doing things again. So it's just like this kind of things of going up and down. Maggie, what about the crystals and oils?
Beautiful. Yes, this is totally a time where it's really interesting. I feel like in our society where like we expect ourselves to just keep going and keep going and keep like having this like output and constantly be doing something. When I connected with the moon, I finally gave myself some time to like step back, process, and rest. And I think that this is, I'm getting goosebumps right now. This is one of the most magical times of the moon because, yeah, like you, it's about you. It's about like letting go of that give mentality, right? And take some time, love on yourself, rest, allow yourself to process. You just went through a cycle, right? So you just went through something. So the universe has taught you something in that amount of time. Maybe just sit back and think about that thing that you have learned and process that. And whether it's good or bad, whatever, you can always bring it back to the good perspective, right? So take that lesson, share it with people when you're ready, when you're coming up on like a full moon again, share that lesson. And again, that's when these journals like come in such handy because you can write that down and remember that, it's super, super powerful. I bring in the bloodstone, like the jasper. This is really magical. My husband found this arrowhead. This, I don't know, can you guys see it? It might not be. There we go. Yeah, my husband found this arrowhead and it was during this time of the moon. So to me, this is what I was just connecting. Oh, hi. I was just connecting like the power of this mineral in particular, which we looked up online, and it's like it just coincides completely. So this is a piece of magic that was just like left there and shining in the night, on the beach, and he just found it, and it's incredible. So bringing in this jasper and this bloodstone and these like really nurturing things. So I also would bring in like, for me, lemon balm, Melissa, that essential oil is really, really incredible at this time. But they also say like mint is really good as well. And that's kind of like for love and health, and you're kind of like healing yourself after you've been out on this long journey. You're coming back, you're emptying everything, you're letting go, and you're nurturing yourself. So whatever it is that makes you feel like you're nurturing yourself, you can pull any oil. Like, I don't know, adaptive would be a really good one to pull at this time because it's so comforting and nurturing. And I think I saw Whisper go up in the chat, like that's such a good, incredible smelling oil. Yeah, just take this time to like allow yourself to take a break and relax and just be. And this is also a time where you can bring in the herb St. John's wort. It's incredible. I like to put it into a bath. It's really good for just like purification, and yeah, it's quite magical. So this will be one of the many herbs. Again, like lavender would be a good one to bring in at this time as well. But yeah, just doing it, the action of doing it. Take care of yourself, whatever that means for you. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to have different crystals and herbs. It's just about doing it. And, don't judge yourself too much. Just action, take those steps. It could be a rock from the beach that is like the magical rock that becomes your ritual. You know what I mean? It can be anything. So please like get out there and just start trying to feel that connection with this thing that has been a part of our lives since 5,000 years ago. We've been connecting with this moon. 10,000 years ago. I mean, this moon will bring you back to something that there's no words for. It's your roots. It's ancient. I mean, if you look at like Stonehenge and things, these all have to do with the phases of the moon. So like we have been working with this energy since before we can remember, but something will help you remember, and you're opening up this like portal to that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So beautiful. I just wanted to ask if you ladies have any questions or something burning or something that you didn't understand or anything, or any experiences you would like to share.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I would like to say, I feel like I just learned so much. Like I need time to like take all this in because I didn't know any of this or very little, you know, some of it like folklore type of thing. Oh, must be a full moon. People are going crazy, like things like that. I work in a school and that's something that comes up a lot. Must be a full moon. So I'm familiar with those type of expressions, but my brain is just, whoa, it's just so much. So I don't really have, actually I do have a question. I don't have anything really to add because this is so new to me, but my question is, because I do want to do this. I do have a collection of crystals. So if I put them outside, do I have this beautiful blue stone. I'm not even sure what this is. I have two with me right now. I was called to bring these two and put them on my altar right here. But if I were to put these outside, like anywhere outside, I can just put them on my lawn, on my porch, like somewhere where it's exposed. Okay.
Yeah, and if it's not the time or it's something that you don't want the nature to hurt them or something, even if you put to the window and they can soak up the light and the energy, obviously it's better if they are outside physically.
Okay.
and soak that up, especially full moon time. Then yes, I would say, Maggie.
Yeah, I would say like find a place, like go outside and see where your gut takes you, because your gut will show you. Like I have a little spot in my back that just holds all my crystals during that time, and I have to say I see a new moon and a full moon ritual in your hands right now. So just start with that. Just go outside during the new moon and the full moon, and at both times you're going to absorb the energy of these. Just because you can't see the moon doesn't mean that energy isn't flowing. So new moon, you can also do this. Definitely just great place to start. I love that.
Yeah, and sometimes if you can put to a place where you can touch them on your way. For example, if you have something on your way going every day out to work or the door or something that can be, then that's good because you can touch it and that touch can help, soak it up to you.
Okay. Oh, I love that. Thank you.
And Suzanne, I'll share with you something Maggie taught me was like, so because we have like snow and stuff right now, right? Like I have like a certain, anyway, it's Allison's washcloth when she was a baby. And then my son had it. And so I have this little washcloth, like a baby one. And that's what I put my crystals on when I put them outside. So like that's something sacred and special to me, right? So instead of, you can put them on the ground. There's certainly nothing wrong with that either, but just that's part of my ritual is, oh, here's my kids are still with me and this is something important to me. So for what it's worth.
I use this right here. It's like a moon cloth. So you can just get a special piece of fabric or something, even. Yeah, anything that will hold your beautiful crystals, your magical, my son calls them magical rocks. So your magical rocks. Yes.
I do have to share. I just saw, Maggie, I just saw your sweatshirt with the moon. And then it reminded me, I'm so glad I remembered, I'm actually wearing a moonstone necklace that my husband got me last year. He went hiking and he bought it in Sedona. And it came with a little description. So I read it this morning. I hadn't even made the connection of what it was. I just liked it because it matched everything. It was
in your neck. I wanted to ask if it's a moonstone or not because I've seen that stone in your neck.
Isn't that pretty? So I thought that was, I think it was like, that's so great now that it has more meaning to me. Now I know, what it is. Yeah. So thank you for letting me think out loud. when I first started talking. I have no idea what I said, so I hope I came across somewhat intelligible.
Beautiful.
I have to say, I'm excited about you on this call because it's the beginning that is so exciting, like the first steps of working with the moon. And just like you said, like all of a sudden something has more meaning, right? It's all about this right here, like bringing meaning and intention into what we are doing and bringing focus to like what we're doing and why we're doing it. I think a lot of us don't even ask why, like, why am I doing the things that I do? And all of a sudden, when you start working with the moon, you have like this permission to like ask yourself why every single month. You know what I mean? It's like you can keep checking back in, and it's just going to bring so much more meaning into your life.
And regarding the oils as well, sometimes, you know, when I didn't have that many, I was thinking, oh, what should I have for this and that purpose? But now that I have more, I just come and become more intuitive, or sometimes just connecting these dots. Like, for example, if you have the little oil of called Brave, you can use it in the first quarter because that's about bravery and building. But sometimes in the last quarter, when you don't feel that brave, for example, that's a good time again to use it. So it's not like I would connect one oil to one quarter, because it's more connected like intuitively. What do you need? Because sometimes, oh, I'm brave, I'm gonna do this, and I put more on it, so I'm gonna be more. Oh yeah, oh no, I don't feel brave at all. Oh, I put some on, so it helps me to be there. So regardless, you know, which way, you can choose them intuitively. Of like, as I said, like with Whisper, I'm just using it every day because I love it. But it started for me with the grounding that is can be specific to one of the moon phases, but maybe, you know, you have some favorites, and if that helps you to bring you closer to your feelings and your emotions and get through things or support things, then just go with that intuitively, I would say.
Can I ask, I want to say as well, thank you so much. I'm with Suzanne. I just have like my page is like full of notes and I've got so much information to process. But quickly, and I know we're coming to the end, what are we in right now?
I mean, like the Aquarius New Moon, or
Yeah,
from
what
that perspective?
Yeah, what phase are we in at like today? Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the Aquarius New Moon on the 11th. Or it depends when you're in New Zealand or in the US, 12 or 11th. And we are in the first quarter.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So that's why we started.
I think it's at like 4%. So it's very new still. So you can still like cultivate this like new moon vibe and like this whole like you are coming out and you have all this like energy you're about to be able to harvest. So you can sit down tonight and like dream and like, what do you want to bring in this month? What do you want to do for yourself this month? Do you want to cut an old habit? Do you want to bring something in? Like, sit down with yourself tonight and just work with that new moon, and you're on the beginning of the cycle. And just remember, when you look up and the moon's halfway, you're like halfway there with your energy, like going out, and then it's going to come back in, right? So allow that. Just tune into that, see how your body reacts, see what's going on, be like a scientist with yourself. Like, how am I feeling? What is happening? Again, like, go get a journal, write about it. It's magical.
And I'm pretty big on manifestation and those sorts of things. So that's why I check the moon. So if the new moon is about to start all these dreams and manifestation, which sign is it in? So if it's in Aquarius, which we have Maggie here from that sign. And if you want to talk about what Aquarius is, because the new moon sets up that manifestation circle, which sign it is, what things are the easiest to manifest. So it's not just like I have overall things in my life I want to get into my life, but like, okay, this Aquarius supports some things like a pattern. So those things will be easier to manifest. So I'm just focusing on those ones, like in that month, a little bit more, like it's, 80-20, 80% is like, these are my goals, and 20%, these are the supported things. So let's do something with them. So to make my life easier. So if Maggie, you want to talk about Aquarius, what kind of qualities you can bring in that can help, like what kind of things you might manifest even easier. So it's not just that you do things, but it's even more supported. I just kind of like imagine it that way.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, Aquarius energy is awesome. This is like such a perfect time to start working with the moon, because it is all about like thinking outside the box, like things that haven't not happened yet, and like kind of like rebelliousness, and like what do you want to see change in this world? This would be a good time to go after those like really big dreams, the ones that have to do with like you out there in society, and like these big things that are happening, and putting energy towards like right now would be a great time to join a group, join a community. It's really incredible for like coming together and working towards something that you believe is almost unreachable because this energy is all about like letting go of what is, and like realizing and opening up your mind and realizing like, okay, there are infinite possibilities out here, and you know, I just have to tap into that. And so really like rebel against what's going on and what you think it, like you have to do and have to be, and go against that, and just what is it that is calling to you? What's it that makes you passionate? Who are you in this world? So that's like a big thing with Aquarius. It's just very like community and yeah, just that free spirit, like big time.
Yeah, Aquarius is told to be, you know, like that reformer who thinks on a higher level. So they don't think in the individual things, but they think about humanity, for example, and all those bigger holistic things, and the reforms. They are these reformers, you know, and by the way, there are some more planets from astrology point of view that they just went, which we call like the destiny planets, or the big ones like Jupiter and Saturn. They just went into Aquarius as well. So having this energy, so that's why it's special, this new moon, because now the moon is in the same sign with the destiny planets and some other planets. So it's like having extra support kind of. And it doesn't mean that we only can think about holistic things and humanity, but maybe it's a good time to think about, oh, I wanted to support charities for a long time in my life. Which ones I would like to do now? Or like what kind of startup I can do to solve the problems of the world of children or in schools or whatever, you know. And if you already had these thoughts, these will be very supported. But it also means like these things you can put into your own life, and how can I renew myself? How can I reform myself? How can I reform my thinking? Aquarius is really thinking. They are really like good in thinking. They are good about science. That's why they say science will grow, and all of these things, like if it has. Sorry, I can talk about it forever. I'd rather stop.
And I could listen to you all night.
Thank you.
I just throw that we need a follow-up call. Like these ladies need to like talk to us more often. Like this is all new stuff. So it's like, just keep feeding us information, right? We're like soaking it up.
I totally agree.
I'm thinking
so much to share. It's like
they have to do it. Yeah. It's a lot.
Well, that was awesome.
Yeah,
Babett and Maggie, you guys were freaking incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like so much knowledge coming from your heart. Like that was amazing. Just like Caitlin and everyone, I wrote like 5 pages of notes. Yeah, killed it.
Thanks
totally.
for coming.
Yeah. So yeah, let's keep in touch in this group. Like let us know how it goes with your practices, and we'll figure out how we can maybe do a follow-up call, because I think that this is just like super powerful to be in sync with the moon. And like you guys said, like just support us in what's already happening, you know, make it a little easier on ourselves. So thank you, ladies, for being here.
Just one thing, can I just say one thing? Just because of staying on the focus side, because Aquarius can be really focused as well. I know you feel like heaps of information, but it's just go through it and choose what resonates with you the most. and say, oh, this resonates, this, and you might find 10 things, but what is now that I want now? And you don't have to focus on, like, if you don't want to write a journal, or if you don't want to sing, like, you might just want to say, oh, I'm going to observe the children in the school and just going to have fun, whether the moon is really having that or whatever. But just choose a couple of things to stay focused so that you can really live these things. And it doesn't mean you have to plant, some plants and taste the carrots, whether they are better, at full moon or new moon or anything, or the sun. Just choose what resonates the best with you, and because that will have the best results as well. So it's like, yeah. Sorry.
Yes, that's really good advice, because I tend to be like, oh, now I'm going to do all these things, and it's just really
I know.
start with one. Simplify. That is the theme of my life this year.
Yeah. I'm with you. You know me.
Underwhelm ourselves. Yes, I like that. All right, we're going to end here. Thank you all so much. Have a beautiful evening, day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.